Now whilst that's slowly coming to a boil, what we need to do is we need to sort out this little bag. Okay, remember it had all the pith and the pips in. Now be careful with this. You can leave this to sit for a little bit just to cool down, then do. Okay, because we need to squeeze it, and if it's too hot it'll really hurt your hands. So we're not going to undo it. What we're going to do, I've just taken that extra little bit off, is you need to squeeze it, because you need to squeeze all the squidgy stuff out of it. Okay, so have it in a plate, and you can actually, I don't know if you can see all this gooey stuff? This is what we need that will make the marmalade set beautifully. Now if you don't like to get your hands dirty, then you can squeeze it between two plates. But I warn you, this is quite hot, so please do be very, very careful with it. I mean, this has been out for about 5 minutes, I think now. And it's still very, very hot. So just squeeze as much out as you possibly can and stick it in with the marmalade. You can get all your stress out when you're doing this. Oh! Okay. It gets everywhere, but this is the good stuff. It's like jelly. But this is wonderful stuff. Really, really great. What I might do is I might stick it in this one, and I might squeeze it like that, and it gives my hands a little bit, bit more protection. There we are. Be patient with this. Make sure you get it all out, because you really, really need it. If you don't, then it won't set. So I'll just carry on getting all of these goody bits out, and then I'll be back with you in a sec. Right, so as I squeezed it out, what I did was I sort of put it on the side of this and in, so it's all kind of collected down here. So once you get all of the goodness out from that little bag, you need to stir it in. Now this is the point that you have to be very careful. It will spit, so just be aware of it. If you've got little kids about, make sure they're not right next to you, because hot jam is very painful. So mix all that pectin that you got out of that bag, you squeezed out, mix it into the jam, and once that's in, whack it on full heat, and bring it to what is classed as a rolling boil, which is a really fast, fierce boil. This won't take long, but please make sure that you stir it continuously, every now and then having a little break. But if you leave it for too long, it will burn on the bottom, and then you would have ruined your marmalade. Right, now I hope you can see that. This is what we call a rolling boil. It boils very, very fiercely, very vigorously. And you can you hear, and you might have seen that, spitting. If you get a little bit of scum on the top, don't worry about that. That's not a problem. Okay, that will disappear at the end. So when it reaches a rolling boil, don't keep it on the rolling boil, well, as high up, because it will burn. I tend to turn mine down just a little bit, just like that, but it still boils very, very vigorously. But stir it very frequently. And once it reaches its boil, we will time it for 15 minutes. So we'll set the timer for 15 minutes, we'll start it, and off we go. Right, now whilst that is boiling, what we need to do is we need to cool a plate down. Just a little plain, you can use a saucer if you want. We're going to put one of these in the fridge down at the lowest point so it gets nice and cold. Okay, so I'll put that in the fridge and then I'll come back to you. Now let me explain about the plate. The reason we put the plate in the bottom of the fridge was it needs to get really, really cold. When the 15 minutes of the boiling marmalade is up, we need to put some on that plate, and so it sets quickly. The plate needs to be very, very cold, so that's why we've done that. If you want to, you can put them in your freezer, but it's entirely up to you. You can put in a couple. I only ever put in one, but it's entirely up to you. So we've got a little bit longer on the jam, or on the marmalade going. I need to give it another stir, and when the 15 minutes is up, I will come back to you. Right, now it's nearly finished its 15-minute vigorous boil. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a little bit darker. Okay, so we'll still continue to stir this. There's still a little bit of scum on the top. Ow. But, sorry, just spat. But don't worry about that. We'll be putting something in a bit to stop that and to get rid of any scum. You don't really get a huge amount of scum with marmalade anyway. It's quite forgiving, apart from all the spitting of the jam. Oh, there we go. Right, now 15 minutes is up. We turn it off, okay, before we test it. So I've got my nice cold plate here, and all you do is you take some out and you pop it on there, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the fridge for about 5 minutes or so and wait until it sets. Now when you test it, you must turn the jam that's boiling off, because you're not sure if what you're testing is set or not. If it isn't set, then you can boil it for a little bit longer. If it is set, the bit that you're testing at the moment, and you carry on boiling what's in the pan, then that will get too hard. So you turn everything off, and we will wait for a few minutes until we can test our little sample. Right, well, I've taken this out of the fridge. The marmalade is nearly cold. Now we have to do what's known as the crinkle test. Okay, and you need to do this when it's practically cold. You get your finger and you push it very, very gently. Can you see it's crinkling slightly? Okay, lift your finger up, and if it falls straight back, then it's not done. If it stays as it has, I can do this. It moves I can do this and it moves a little bit. But it's not filling that hole straight away, which is good. So that is done. If it crinkles and doesn't fall back, if it falls back very, very slowly like it is here, then that's fine. Because just remember that this jam is still a little bit on the warm side. Okay, and when it's cold, it won't fall back. Jam, as my dad, and marmalade, as my dad says, has to be stackable. So you need to be able to stack it on your toast. And I think this is stackable. Okay. If you find that when you do the crinkle test, it rolls straight back, then boil it for another 10 minutes and then repeat the same process. You can put this back in the preserving pan and boil it again with the rest of it. You don't have to discard this. You can reuse that. Right, this is done. So I'm going to put this back in with the rest of the stuff, give it a stir around, and then wait for a little bit.